When we think of the past, it is easy to assume that the sleepy and sluggish feeling we get when waking up at night was simply not a thing for ancient humans. Historians believed waking up at night, including spending hours wide awake, was normal. They believed until recently that the first modern humans must have lived in total darkness. Darkness may have not been a defining feature of their hunter-gatherer lives, but it was always on the periphery, a prominent and unavoidable component of the dangers and mysteries they faced every day. For most of the history of humankind, there were no artificial light sources, and before fire they must have spent half their lives in darkness. They learned to survive in it, to assess threats, watch for animals arriving to steal their kill or warning the others of their presence if they were the intended victims. They developed a host of senses and responses that kept them safe as they rested in the dark under the stars, only returning to wakefulness when a method of illumination was available, or when an uninvited guest entered their camp unaware of its occupants. Our own perception of the night has changed. Stand Even, 2016, says with the introduction of electric lighting the cycles that governed our ancestors' daily lives dissolved. Modern lights provide illumination when needed instead of night, bringing darkness, mystery, and risk. Our night lives have also grown more active than those of our ancestors ever were, with distractions like television, the internet, and other forms of entertainment competing for brain space that used to belong to the imagination. This flood of light and stimulation means that very few of us today sleep in total darkness, leaving us comatose when we wake up. What was life for early humans without fire? Think for a moment. Early humans struggled with night. Not so much that night came, but how to cope with it when it came. The development of language was concurrent with the control of fire, as both affected the success of the other. Fire control allowed humans to create a safer environment. That meant that they could easily gather around the firelight and be safe from large animals, count their numbers, sometimes called talking, and share the food they hunted. Fire allowed them to see one another, visually chatting and creating an emotional connection for survival. It also ensured that cliques were minimal and bigger problems could be solved cooperatively. Never underestimate the importance of fire to social interaction. The prehistoric human that built the first fire must have thought it was the most brilliant thought ever. Gather the clan around the fire so they could eat together, tell stories, and protect themselves. You can see how this developed human societies through vast distances and time. With fire control came increased safety and the fostering of creativity. Dwelling safely with their fellow clan members opened up time and an inspiration for imaginative storytelling. Out of those stories came symbols for the stories, pictures. Drawing pictures or writing symbols on walls became art, a new frontier of creativity. To think and then create something based on that imagination is pure creation. This is different from instinctive and important for long-term survival. Creating ensured clan survival. Imagination fuels anticipation. Heartfelt anticipation generates emotion. Connected emotion spawns ties, and they become commitment. Fire. Such a simple thing can never be innocent in the history of mankind. Fire helped shape social interaction. Social interaction bred imagination. Imagination generated creativity. Creativity inspired the total development of the human mind. 900 million brain synapses a day also reflect stimulation to develop learning. It all started with fire. Fire control was the first step in separating us from the rest of the animal kingdom. Roger E. Kirch, an American historian and professor, has studied historical sleep patterns. In an interview with National Geographic, he mentioned that there are examples of past peoples who slept in 2 chunks of about 4 hours, a practice sometimes referred to as the first sleep, second sleep pattern. To my amazement, he told the magazine, I discovered numerous references to sleep that explicitly suggest the occurrence of 2 segmented periods. Other historical documents refer to sleep as an active process instead of a passive one of unconsciousness. They frequently refer to people being awake at hours while suggesting that sleep was considered an action that could be performed. In one such historical reference, as later noted by Life Science, Homer's Iliad mentions a character who is awake during the night, like a watchman who is aware that someone is approaching. In another reference, Plato, an ancient Greek philosopher, said that the need for sleep overtakes while awake to obtain the desired good. The modern interpretation is essentially that sleep is a good thing in these cultural references. In a culture that did not have jet engines or electric lights, sleep was a necessary part of daily life. During the medieval era in early Western Europe, sleep was a natural occurrence and thus did not incur any moral value. It was not a sin to oversleep or not wake up, but honor and duty required one to stay awake. Such documents suggest evenings were spent working, performing chores, or worshipping, and that many people did not find it concerning to stay awake until 2 or 3 in the morning. The concept of being awake was not all that special, commented a coach for life science. It was actually looked down on to stay awake for too long. How has artificial light changed the way that humans sleep? In the 1700s, every evening as twilight fell, the streets of European cities would gradually become dark but for the flickering lights of torches, hearths, and a few oil lamps. Soon the whole city would settle into darkness, but well before dawn the same streets would again awaken with the gossip of market traders setting up stalls and the shrill of bakeries. By the early 1700s, many European cities were already utilizing street lighting of one type or another. Today, street lights, car lights, light shining through windows, and television screens no longer allow us to see, hear, or sense when evening turns to night or morning to day. Not that we would want to. A world no longer sheltered from the night is a frightening place. But as we learn more about the effects of artificial light on our bodies and minds, it seems that we are paying a high price for modern civilization, insomnia. Many people complain that they can't sleep these days, says Dr. Thomas Ware, a psychiatrist at the Uniformed Services University for the Health Sciences. But it's not insomnia, it's the natural sleep cycle. The problem is a lack of understanding. As you would expect from the observation of a psychiatrist, Dr. Ware's discovery has implications that reach far beyond the normal boundaries of natural sciences. He seems to have arrived at some profound insights into the way our lives should be ordered and the way society works. The experiment with human subjects he conducted in 1992 revealed an astonishing fact. Our natural biorhythm should be a 2-phase sleep cycle which Dr. Ware calls the biphasic sleep cycle. Night was something different in ancient times. The experience was of a nice fire with communal fun, fascination, attraction, and passionate imagination. Night had a tempo, a rhythm, and a storytelling. It was well known to offer the darkness of the world so contrasting with the reality perceived by the average humans in that time. Brightness is conquering more and more the life of the modern humans who are living their lives in light, of fire or electric devices, communication and neighbors again and again, pushing the night back in some small and ignorable moments. Sounds familiar? There is an improvement undoubtedly. There's no blackness now to prevent outthinking or daydreaming. The case is that we have abandoned completely the ancient idyllic experience of being in the direction of the star under the vastness of the universe. But night can offer us today more valuable opportunities than fun and stories. This night, when the bright white sun sets down slowly, the sky changes its king-size color with a mix of violet pink-orange in the west, dark deep blue-black-purple in the east and endless shining blended sparkles from the stars in the top, is far beyond of just image. An ancient night can broaden your imagination and open the two strategic thoughts, thinking and researching the unknown. In the busy schedule of daily tasks, it is impossible to even think the unknown that no one else yet earned. Within the dream of night, it is easier to hear the crying of the ancestors who were craving for the synthesis of the truth from bits and pieces of information.